Picture this. You open up your accounts, maybe you're checking a safe, or just looking at your balance on your phone, and you are met with a chilling, undeniable void. It's a moment of pure existential dread, right? We've all experienced that sudden drop in our stomach when something absolutely crucial just vanishes into thin air. Well, in the short, highly mysterious audio clip we're analyzing today, the speaker starts their journey right in the middle of this profound crisis. They state, with genuine panic, "I could have sworn there was more in here just a moment ago. Where on earth did all of my savings go?" It's a total mystery, a tragedy really, a sudden, unexplained financial disappearance. But what happens next in this audio file completely defies logic. It gives us this wildly fascinating window into the human mind under extreme pressure. Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack one of the most bizarre and intriguing pieces of audio source material out there. We're calling this one The Pivot, deconstructing a financial crisis through absurdist humor. Why? Because instead of calling the authorities or, panicking even further, our speaker does something entirely unexpected. They pivot. They transform their immediate crushing panic into a rapid-fire comedy set. So over the next few minutes, we're going to track exactly how a person's brain, when faced with the inexplicable loss of their life savings, actively uses dad jokes and absurd wordplay just to survive the moment. It is honestly a masterclass in psychological deflection.
So, Act 1, the deflection, focusing on the theater. This is where we see the concept of the pivot in action. As the speaker states, this is truly very confusing and immediately uses humor as a coping mechanism. Right after realizing the money is gone, the speaker hits this sort of emergency override switch in their brain, transporting themselves onto a metaphorical stage. They don't dwell on the confusion. They don't try to solve the mystery of the missing cash. Instead, they use humor as an instant, powerful shield to mask the financial trauma they literally just experienced. To pull themselves out of the panic, the speaker suddenly poses this question out of absolutely nowhere. Like they're unraveling a great mystery, they ask, why do we tell actors to break a leg? I mean, think about the sheer whiplash of this transition. 1 second, we're in a true crime scenario of vanishing wealth, and the very next, we're digging into a linguistic mystery of the theatrical world. They ask this with the gravity of someone trying to distract themselves from a burning room, forcing their brain to focus on an entirely unrelated setup and demanding we follow them into this absurdly low-stakes reality.
And then they deliver the punchline deadpan, because every play has a cast. It's your classic groan-inducing dad joke, but what makes this moment in the source material so incredibly fascinating isn't just the joke itself, it's what the speaker says immediately after. They give themselves a completely deadpan, self-satisfied review, stating, "That is a very funny joke for everyone." They're actively reassuring themselves. They're taking back control of the narrative. By declaring the joke a universal success, they're clawing back that sense of control they lost the second they realized their bank account was empty. And this brilliantly illustrates the duality of their first psychological deflection. Think about the word cast. On one hand, you have a medical cast, which is deeply associated with injury, trauma, and, literally breaking a leg. On the other hand, you have the theatrical cast, an artificial world of play and pretend. The speaker's brain is literally pivoting away from the very real-world trauma of their lost savings and escaping toward a world of artifice and performance. It's a linguistic escape hatch. But as we're about to see, you can really only outrun your subconscious for so long. Which brings us to Act 2, the subconscious return. The bank. This is where the second phase of the monologue kicks in and the speaker's jokes begin to subconsciously leak their initial financial anxiety. You see, the underlying trauma of the missing savings is still there, just bubbling right beneath the surface. Just look at the setup for their second joke. Why did the man bring a ladder to the bank? Okay, the speaker successfully deflected their panic with a theater joke, but now the very thing they're trying to ignore starts bleeding directly into the comedy routine. Notice the setting here? The bank, the exact institution associated with the savings they just lost. Despite their absolute best efforts to escape into the world of theater, their mind drags them right back to the scene of the crime. They're trying so hard to tell another lighthearted joke, but their financial anxiety is hijacking the narrative. It's a beautiful piece of structural irony. They're trying to run away from their money problems, but their subconscious brings a ladder to climb right back into them.
And the punchline, because he wanted to reach the high interest rates. So the crucial point is that this isn't just a random pun about physical height and financial metrics. This is active, real-time processing of financial stress manifesting entirely through wordplay. The speaker lost their savings, so their subconscious literally offers up a fantasy about reaching high interest rates. It's a desperate, deep-seated desire to rebuild the wealth that just mysteriously vanished. They are trying to construct a ladder out of humor to climb out of the financial hole they found themselves in at the very start of the audio clip.
Having confronted the source of their anxiety, we now enter Act 3, the quest for growth, the sprout. This frames the final riddle as the speaker's ultimate search for personal growth in the face of sudden poverty.
The speaker has to figure out how to move forward now. The theater joke? Pure deflection. The bank joke? Subconscious processing. Now they have to navigate what it means to face sudden, unexpected poverty. Turning their attention entirely to nature, they pose this final riddle with a renewed sense of energetic curiosity. Why did the plant go to school? After the sheer trauma of the missing savings and the complex psychological maneuvering of those previous jokes, we're left with this incredibly simple, pure image. A plant seeking education. On a metaphorical level, the speaker is asking, how do we grow when our resources have been completely stripped away? How do we actually learn from a moment of profound, confusing loss?
Because it wanted to become a smarter sprout. This punchline is the turning point of the entire source text. Becoming a smarter sprout represents the speaker's absolute acceptance of their new situation. They can't get their savings back right now, the money is gone. But they can become a smarter sprout. They can learn from this totally confusing event, educate themselves, and start growing again from the ground up, literally and figuratively. It is such an incredibly optimistic conclusion to a journey that started in total despair.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Let's quickly map out the bizarre yet highly structured logical journey the speaker just took us on in a matter of mere seconds. Step 1, that existential confusion about the missing savings. Step 2, immediate deflection via theater joke just to regain some control. Step 3, subconscious processing where all that anxiety leaks into a bank joke. And finally, Step 4, acceptance and a genuine desire for future growth via a plant joke. It is a complete, start-to-finish cycle of grief entirely compressed into a rapid-fire stand-up comedy format.
Which brings us to our conclusion, the final affirmation. We are now at the true climax of the audio clip, preparing to analyze the final 2 words of the speaker's stream of consciousness.
The speaker has acknowledged the loss, deflected it, processed it, and committed to growing from it. All that's left is the final sign-off, a concluding statement to cement this brand new reality and officially close the book on the panic that started it all. They say, yes, yes. 2 words, spoken with a strange, resolute clarity. It is the absolute final affirmation. The speaker is validating their own bizarre coping mechanism, affirming that they have successfully navigated the confusion using nothing but dad jokes as a compass. And it leaves us with a pretty provocative thought to ponder. The next time you find yourself staring down an unexpected loss or a deeply confusing situation, how are you going to pivot? Will you let the panic take over, or will you, too, use absurd humor and self-affirmation to mask your confusion, find your footing, and eventually affirm your own resilience? Think about that for a bit, because sometimes a joke isn't just a joke, it's a lifeline.